I suppose, you know, there's a myth that people say. They say you're fly on the wall, which is this weird expression that you're this insect standing on the wall and you don't feel anything. In a way, and that you've got to be objective, you know, which is another word for perspective. You've got to take everything. I don't believe that's possible. If I'm filming people that I love, I fall in love with them, you know, through making the film, and I care about them, and I usually lose my perspective very quickly. So, you know, but it doesn't mean you don't have, and even though I say that, I can think the opposite as well, which is why life and films and everything's so wonderful, because it's contradictory. Because even though I feel that, there's times, like if I'm filming a scene, I have to be able to be very involved and care, but at the same time I have to think, because when you're doing camera, I think the difference between documentary camera and fiction camera, one of the differences, with documentary camera you really have to think about how you're going to edit it. So you have to think, I need this, I need that, I need to go to this shot, I need to hold that shot, because the next shot is going to be that. And you have to film a scene. So when you're filming the scene, you're putting it together in your head while you're filming it. So in order to do that properly, you have to have a certain detachment, which sometimes makes you feel rather evil. It's, you know, really what you're asking is the kind of same question in a very clever way, because you deal with that. Because you say, look, I know why I'm filming this. It's really important that I film this. And if I stop the scene, if I stop things happening, it's not going to help that person. Because the doctor, you're talking about a circumcision scene, she said, trust me, don't try and stop it. Because if you try and stop it, I'll be thrown out of the village, I won't be able to work there as a doctor anymore, and then they'll just do it anyway. And so I was thinking when I was filming it, the point of filming this scene is to help other girls, and also I believe in what we're doing, and I believe that the doctor's telling me the truth and we're doing it together, right? The other scene that I filmed is also in the clips, which is really bad of them. They've chosen the two things, which is that when this friend of mine, her little boy, who was called Shubaba, he died, he drowned in the river, and they called us to come down. They wanted us to film it. But at the same time, if, let's say, I'm friends with you and something really bad happens to you, in normal life, and you're weeping and your friends are consoling you, in normal life I would stand back or I would hug you, but I would be very respectful. But in filming it, I had to, you know, I had to kneel right in front of her, and I had to then pan away and get the people watching, and I had to construct a scene. So I am caring. It doesn't mean I care about her any less, but I'm also, you know, working out how to film the scene. No. I think I grew up with a father who was incredibly racist and violent and angry with the world. And I'm not making films for him. But in a funny way I am, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make films that when people watch it, they go through an emotional experience, and hope that even if it's only to one or two, that they'll see the world slightly differently, that they'll love the people in the film and they'll care about them, and then they're not being told what to think. So everybody's going to see it differently. Do you know what, your question's kind of interesting, because there's lots of parts of it, and I don't think that it's entirely true that fiction's more manipulative than documentary in a funny way, because a lot of fiction, it reaches a truth, and it's a manufactured truth. It's something that's been created from a script and an idea, but it can reach a truth that can touch you. And a lot of documentaries are fairly manipulative. You know, they tell you what to think, there's a commentary, they're frankly quite boring. or you realise that there's a script and they want you to think what the script is. And the documentaries I love, as well as the fiction that I love, and they can break all the rules, it doesn't really matter, there's not rules, but they reach some kind of truth, they mean something to you. Like that film we've just seen. I love this festival, by the way, because I think that's such a good choice of film. I would never have gone to see it normally, and it was like a real gift. But to come back to the second part of your question, what I'm trying to do, and the reason why, and I think I'm getting there, I'm trying to make my camera very, very simple. And do you remember the early Dogma films? The early Lars von Trier films? They used to try and make fiction look like documentary by making the camera really bad and like this, because that's what they thought was real filming. And that used to really annoy me, because what a lot of us in documentary are trying to do is just film it well. And there's no excuse for all that shaking and filming it badly, unless you're running after somebody, or, you know, sometimes you have to leave bad stuff in because the scene demands it. But, you know, I think what I'm trying to do is, the camera is almost like a little window. So, and that's why I'm really happy that I do camera, because, and what I'm hoping is that you are me, seeing the film through my eyes, and I'm opening a little window for you. So I try not to move the camera too much. I try not to do zoom. Sometimes I have to, but I try and make the camera as seamless or as gentle as possible, and as uncomplicated as possible, so that you can feel you're sitting or standing, or, you know, you're just in that situation. You're following the story and you're living with those people. You're not thinking of it as being a film, you know. I love this festival that people value camera, because I think it's so easy to undervalue it in documentary. So I've just been to a festival in Copenhagen, and there were a lot of, I was on the jury, I had to watch 14 documentaries, and about 8 of them, the way they were filmed was really boring, you know. They weren't valuing the visual image. So there was loads and loads of things just set up, and, you know, and we were told what to think. You didn't watch things, you didn't learn things as they happened. You were told what to think, you know, the lazy way. So, no, I'm really happy about it. I'm really grateful for it. And I shall have that little frog in my room, and I shall really value it, you know. And that's not to say I don't value other things that I've won, but this one is special to me because I've really kind of had a hard time doing the camera. You know, you have to carry the thing, and I always use the best camera possible. I don't use the little ones. I use the really best one I can get, you know. And often you're walking for 5 kilometers in the sun, and you're, you know, and you think, oh, maybe I should have had the little one. No, I want the best camera, and I want to have it on my shoulder so that I can make it smooth and I can make it still, and